Hello, everyone. This is Dawn Saunders with Harvest Readers. Happy Harvest Book Club. So, we are experiencing some difficulties for some reason today, but I hope and trust that it doesn't interfere with our study. But I just want to say thank you. I have um, I have the discussion live also on Clubhouse, and that's auditory. That's the audio feature. So if you are on Clubhouse, tune into my room, and that is Harvest Readers Book Club Review with Sarah Jakes. So today, I wanted us to go over, let's see, I wanted us to go over our book for the month. And unfortunately, I had my book with all of my reviews and everything that I needed to discuss. And some reason the book has just decided to obtain legs. So I would like for y'all to share because I really want you guys to just tune in and just have a discussion about the book and see what are your thoughts are on the book. So invite some friends over if you haven't read the book and you know Sarah Jakes and what the topic is about. We can also discuss that because I really want to get your insight on what we're going to be talking about. Hi, Richard. Welcome to our Harvest Readers. And we're going to be discussing tonight Sarah Jakes, Don't Settle for Safe. So I think that's a really good topic. And we're just going to touch some points that was in the book. And if you've read the book, um, just let me know how the book is working for you. If you have not read the book, then we can talk about some of the chapter discussions in the book, and we can decide on your feelings and your thoughts. And if you are on Clubhouse and you have an iPhone, hey, blessings. Good evening to you too. You have an iPhone. I'm looking forward to seeing you pop into my room and let's talk. Let's talk about Sarah Jakes and her book, Don't Settle for Safe. And I think that's an important topic that anyone can talk about, even without not having the book. So, ping those of you who are on Clubhouse and in the room, please ping your friends and those who are on this platform and invite some people in because I'm looking forward to hearing your voices and seeing your faces um, somehow. But I'm really excited right now and I'm trying to share so we can get some people to help me in this review. So, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start. So, the book that we're going to be talking about is by Sarah Jakes, and I actually was trying to get a copy of the print so I can, show you the book cover. If you haven't read that book or you haven't seen that book, this is a good time for you to go ahead and purchase that book. It is a great, great book. So let's do a little synopsis of the book just firstly. And like I said, this is by Sarah Jakes. It's Don't Settle for Safe. And her married name is Roberts. So in this book, the the short story of this is that she goes into topics that it talks about partially she dive into some of her testimony of her life, but she also comes out she goes into the past and then she comes out with the empowerment of how to build up yourself in the present, and she uses steps like to go forward, so you're not going backwards, you're going forward in how you're living yourself to a better life, how you what used to keep you down, where you were afraid in the past, where you struggled in the past, the things that, kept you from propelling to be successful. She talks about those things. She talks about finding your intimacy with God outside from the world's view. You have to build yourself up in that. She talks about learning how to focus yourself, take your focus off of others and put your focus on you. And like I say, her book was really instrumental in reading. Some people would probably say it's a self-help book. I don't really too much care about that word self-help book, because I just believe, you know, God has put people in your life, or, you come across certain things to help build you up or to help build up yourself. But everything is guided from above. Everything is sent through God, to whether it's to a book, a person, an experience. I think the Almighty God knows where your path is supposed to be and where you lie in your path. And like I said, I had my book with all my discussion questions I was going to talk about, my quotes that she had in the book. It was just so many things that I had already pointed out, but that's okay. I read the book, and I actually read the book twice. I did an audio, and some people say if you do audio, it's not reading, and I physically read the book. So the first time I listened to it, before I chose the book for the book club, I listened to it auditorily, because that gives me a feel of the book firstly, to see if I want to, just put the book out there for the book club. So I did listen to it first, and then I went ahead and read it, physically, the physical book, because I actually like to have a book, especially that kind of book where I can write in there, highlight my favorite areas and point. So, for some of you, please type in, send your comments. I want to see what your thoughts are on the book. Like I said again, if you're just joining me, I am on Clubhouse. On the room is called Harvest Readers Book Review by Sarah Jakes, and Don't Settle for Safe. So tap into my room. You can look for my name, Dawn Saunders, and find me, or just look for the room and just tap in and join us so you can hear, and comment back. So that's the beauty about this platform and this app. Here on Facebook, you're viewing me, but you can, type. So if you don't want to have to physically speak so I can hear you, you have the option this way also. And that's the beauty about all these different features. I didn't have my other computer set up because I spent the whole time looking for my book, and I wanted to have the other computer set up where I could be on Instagram. So next time, next month, we'll do that. And I want to get it down to where I'm doing like more than one book review, in a month. So I can bring it down to at least 24 book review in a year. But time won't allow me for right now, but eventually we'll get there. I know there are people that's doing 2 and 3 book reviews in the week, so I'm not there yet. I'm close the door. Ask your dad, please. I'm doing a review. So again, because of that, why I have to no matter how much I try my best to have no interruption and to go all the way to the other end of the house, you know, you're dealing with life here. So, hey, Leslyn, welcome. She says, awesome. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining in. So, yes, the book reviews, I would love to see more forthcoming. But at this time, we're just, hey, Leslie, tune into my chat so I can on Clubhouse. I have a room open up. Leslie was my first person that tuned into my first room I had before, not this one, but another room, and she just inspired me, and it was a great inspiration that night. So So again, we're talking about Sarah Jakes. My room again on Clubhouse. If you have an iPhone, I would love for you to tune in just for the participation, and that is Harvest Readers Book Review right now, and it's Sarah Jakes that we're reviewing. Don't settle for safe. And like I said, I just gave a little quick brief synopsis about this book. And if you have any thoughts on this book, I love to see these comments flowing. So what she mentioned in her book, her forward. This was a forward, and it was from Isaiah 43, 1 to 2, and I love this. So that's one of the first thing I recognize, and it says, "Fear not," because you're gonna find if you do read the book, or you don't have much time to just physically read, like I recommend the audio version also. I did it, like I said, the first time when I was picking the book for the book club. But the verse that she chose for her forward, it was, "Fear not her," who, the person, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And though the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you." And that's Isaiah 43, 1 to 2. That is a powerful scripture because it basically talks about fear not. So it's talking about fear. How many of us are dealing with fear? She talks about that in the book. And that really was a book that it was very impressive in the delivery of how she explained her testimony leading up to where she, overcome it, and then leading up to where she's given, some mentorship view or some guidance in how to walk in faith, walk in your strength, walk in your identity. So, then the scripture also, it fills in, the part where, okay, you're going to go through the water. If you can't swim, a possibility you're going to be afraid because you might drown. I can't swim, so if you throw me in the water, fear automatically is going to come on because I'm going to feel like I'm drowning. But, this verse is telling you, hey, I'm with you. So even when you go through the water where you're thrown in and you feel like you're sinking, the fear of that thought or or even the feeling, this scripture is an encouragement to let you know. He says that he will be with you. He said, I will be with you. And it says, even through the rivers, rivers are, they're the streams, they're rivers. Rivers take you along, take you along. It runs to, and it doesn't run up, it runs down or parallel. And most of the time, it runs into something else. So sometimes if you're in the stream, in the river, your fear might be, oh my God, where is this taking me? You might be in a situation where you're like, oh my God, where this is taking me. And her book, again, when she got married, she talked about when she got married, the idea of, she was so transparent, you guys. And if you remember any parts of her transparency, please type in and let me know. And, she talks about where she was in her marriage, where she was at a point where she didn't really know how to apologize, or she didn't, feel like she was wrong. So, this marriage now, coming out of one marriage into a new marriage, it's like, okay, where is this taking me? So where the river is taking you. And God is saying, okay, you won't be overwhelmed. Although it looks like it's going to overwhelm you, he's saying you won't be overwhelmed. Her husband, Tori, was trying to explain to her, I'm here. I need you to trust me. She also talks about that, I thought was so important at a point where she mentioned, that uh, it was hard for her to say that, okay, I will not bring infidelity in the marriage. She didn't feel like she needed to say that. And he was like, say confidently, I am going to say that. And he's saying that in her mind, she, for whatever the past brought for her to feel like that was not going to happen, or if it had happened to her before, she came in with the idea that, okay, I'm not going to put my trust here because anything can happen. So in his eyes, or in the marriage, he's like, okay, no, I am going to say it because I mean it. And you don't want to have a short-lived conversation about being faithful to each other by short stepping yourself. You have to be confident and believe that I'm not going to, poison this marriage with infidelity or lust or any of those things. And that was a fear that she had also, So it says, when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. How many fire that we all been through? Yes, some of us hold our breath because the smoke feels like it's suffocating you. Just seeing the flames alone is a fear because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get burned. And some of us have gone through family crisis, business failure, something to that. So even health issues. And God is saying you won't be burned. So even though you were struck down with a disease or a condition that had crippled you for a moment, God is saying, I want you to be strong and be faithful to stand up, so you won't, because I don't want you to be burned, and that's what he's saying. The flame will not consume you. Your sickness won't consume you. Your health issues won't consume you. Your financial issues won't consume you. Your relationship issues won't consume you. And all these things is what she explained. It may not necessarily be financial issues, but she talks about the, the different aspect of your fire, your flood, your the river, all those things, she was able to talk about in the marriage, I mean, in the book, as far as why you shouldn't settle for safe. Some people don't want to go to the front. They talk about, well, I'm gonna sit in the back seat because the back is always good. Yeah, but there's a time when God is ready for you to come out of safe. He's ready for you to come out of your comfort zone. He's ready for you to come out of that fearful zone and bring you into a faithful zone. He's ready for you to take the veil off your face so others can see the glory of the Lord upon your face. But if you stay hidden and you stay in the comfort zone and you stay in the safe zone, you're saying, okay, I'm safe right here. I'm not going to step over this line. I'm safe right here. I'm not going to direct it. But there comes a time when you have to, because guess what? When you settle for just safe, and that's what she's saying, embracing the uncomfortable to become unstoppable. You have to, sometimes things are going to make you uncomfortable. Somebody may say something to you that's going to make you uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Somebody may critique something you say that makes you feel uncomfortable. I had that experience today, and oh my God, it was like, I was trying to do a pitch line, and I mean, I just charred up. I just was like, oh my God. I was just so nervous and couldn't believe it. And anybody who know me, who know I like to talk, and they was like, you done? And I promise you, I was like, wow, because, I had got to a place too, although for years I've done so many, different type of engagement, but, I got to a place where I was feeling safe. And when you feel safe, you limit yourself. When you feel safe, you don't go any further. When you feel safe, you don't do no more than just the required minimum. And that's not what, God is calling us to do in our uniqueness. And that's what she's saying. Safe just makes you comfortable and it limits you. Coming out of safe makes you uncomfortable, but it propels you and it brings you to a place where your momentum speed up, and it speeds up, and then before you know it, you're doing things you never even thought you could do. At some point, you dream about it, but you just dream. You didn't think you can, do those things. Hey, Teresa, thanks for joining. I love this girl. She's always supporting me. Thank you so much. So Teresa, I want you to get the book. We're talking about Sarah Jakes. Her last name now is Roberts, but she still goes by her middle name. That's T.D. Jakes' daughter. And this book was so transparent in her delivery, like I said earlier, because she really bring out her fear factors. She bring out the area of her life where she was held up. And like I mentioned, she talks about coming out of that. Now, Sarah, she said she was so shy. Sarah, she said, even at one point when her mom wanted her to help, because she's like an organizational manager anyway for in the workplace. She's really good with project managing and those kind of things. And her mom wanted her to come in to their church at one point. This is before she married her husband and so forth, and help the women in the women department. And all she was worried about, it was like, I don't want to come here to feel like I'm taking over anything. But she was trying her best, not to take on this assignment. And she said, of course, anybody who knows mama, she's going to get her way. So she basically, pleaded with her, and she took it on. And, in her fear, she had just the safe zone of what she's going to do. And turned out she was a really great mentor. She turned out to be a person of influence in that women's group. It turned out they were asking her to do speaking engagements, and she was still trying to limit herself, but it took on. She said she's developed from mentoring so many people from that department, although these women were older than her. But she was walking in the place of wisdom. She even talk about in the book about her writing skills. She said she was very rebellious when she was growing up. And if any of you remember her, she was pregnant at 13 or 14. So she became a young mother. She dealt with the shame. She also talked about, oh boy, and she still went to school, and she was trying to hide that pregnancy, but she still went to school. And for some reason, when they were in the cafeteria scene at one point, she was confronted with the fact that she nobody knew she was pregnant, but pretty much the family. And they had some debate in the school cafeteria, and her sister were shutting them down. And it was like, someone must have said, "Oh, teen pregnancy make you a, HO," and the sister said, that's not true, because my sister is pregnant and she is not a whore. And everything, she said, it's like her world just shut down. Her world just, she was like, how can she do this to me? And so she went on that topic, talking about her experience with that. She overcame that because it turned out to be a good experience. It was like, oh, okay, nobody treated her badly, and matter of fact, she was loved a lot, so she gave her experience in that. And sometimes the thing that we fear the most sometimes can become your strength, becomes your power, because now she talks about this as her strength, to show, hey, I went through this, and look at me now, I overcame it. So you might be dealing with some issues that you feel like that thing has drowned you. You're going through the water, you feel like, I can't breathe. I need to come up for air, but you have to believe and know you can come up for air, because if you stand on the word of God, and that's why I like what she said, the verse that she chose. When you stand on the word of God, he said, even though you go through the water, You know, even though you go through the water, he says, I will be with you. So you may feel like you're suffocating and you may feel like you're under the water. The crowd is looking at you. They know now that you've been molested. They know now you've been a teenage mother, you had an abortion. They know now all these secrets that you've been trying to avoid to come to light. Oh my God, now they know. Now you feel like, oh, someone just took a blanket, and she mentioned something like that, just took a blanket and just drowned you. But when you have something to hold on to, bigger than your drowning, then you can come up for life. Then you can breathe and know, hey, he said he will be with me. God, I need you right now because I feel like I'm closing in. When someone pull you out of your comfort zone, your safe zone, and say, I need you to go over there. Let me give you an example. I remember when I first moved to Georgia back in 2003. I had just recently, I've been a nurse for a long time, not a long time, since 1999. I was an LPN, and then I got my RN in 2000, 2001 or two or somewhere there, and I was practicing RN at the time before I even took my license. So I did my license and I passed. I took my examination, I passed, and then I moved to Georgia. I worked at Emory Eastside. That's my first job in Georgia. It was a transfer from Texas. So I was with the HCA company for a very long time over there. Even before I became a nurse, I was a phlebotomist. I worked, my way up pretty much. So I was in the system a long time in healthcare. But when I came over to Eastside Hospital, I worked on the cardiac unit, which is the step down from the ICU here. And I remember I had never learned about cardiac rhythms and those kind of thing. I know about the medical aspect of the heart and all this, but I never really knew about the rhythm and reading those rhythms. So we had to do like a test or whatever. And then one day, the supervisor saw potential in me, and she just threw. I had never ever in my mind imagined I would ever be a manager, supervisor. I just was, my goal really in life, I wanted to be a doctor. So I was not even focusing on trying to manage anybody, supervising anything. I just was, trying to learn this new life of being a cardiac nurse, and just getting familiar with the new aspect of this area. And she threw me in and said, Dawn, you're going to charge that day. I mean, I literally went in. I felt like Sarah right here. I was so, I was so scared. I mean, I really, truly was, because fear only gives you a picture of the dark, where you can't see. And the fear I saw and the darkness was that, oh my God, I'm going to kill all these people on this unit. I don't know how to manage and run and supervise all these nurses. These were nurses who've been nursing longer than I have, who've been charge nursing, and I've never charged nurse. I've never been trained in this area. So she said she came. I went into some kind of. I think went into the medication room, and I was in there crying. And my supervisor, because she was getting ready to leave, and she came in. She said, "Dawn, you can do it. I believe you can do it." And the nursing supervisor for the whole unit, I mean, for the whole hospital, was told I was going to run the floor, and I've never done it before. So, she came a few times and checked on me, and then the report went back that I did such a good job, and they started putting. I thought that was just a one-time deal. And they started putting me down for charging. So I became an official charge nurse every day. Of course, there's other stories behind that too. But I'm saying this to say, I too experienced the safe, didn't want to come out the safe zone. I too felt like I was drowning. And eventually, when I realized, and God used my manager, the supervisor, to come in to say, it's kind of like, okay, I will be with you. It's kind of like, saying, you can do it. You're going to make it. Somebody's telling you, breathe, breathe. And you're like, I can't breathe. I can't. They're saying, yes, you can breathe. I just need you to take a deep breath and let go. And that's what happened. So I just really enjoyed this book. They have, between herself and her husband, she talks about the cohesiveness of the blended family that become one. She reminded me of myself because she had her first son. Of course, I mentioned when she was at a teenage age, and then she was married before, which I didn't even know that till she mentioned that. So she had recently been divorced, and then she met Tori, and she started dating him, I think, a year afterward. And then he came in with, so altogether they have 6 children. So he came in with his 3, and she had 2, and then they have one together. And that reminded me of myself. So a lot of times I tell people I have 7 children, which is the number of completion. And those who know me from a long time ago, especially my family in Texas, everybody know me to have just one child, which was Sherelle. And now everybody see that I have those last 2 children, but most of them don't see the interaction with my boys, my older children. So that's because those children are grown and big. And at that time, when I was highly involved and we all lived together, um, the book club, not the book club, I'm sorry, Facebook wasn't there like this. Those time it was like MySpace, and it was not as active as what we're doing now. So most people who don't know me from that level don't understand when I say 7 children, but I've counted those children from day one. My oldest son, he's 32, and I have been in his life since he was 11. I think he was 12 when I met him, 11 or 12. And then the other one was 10. And then the last one he was 8, 6 or 8. So these boys, I raised them up with my husband. I've called them my children because we are married, so we're one. It's no step. I don't have no stepchildren. These are my children. They still have their biological mother who has not been an issue, but I know I'm not their biological mother, but together as married husband and wife, those are considered my children. So, saying all that to say, when I read that part in her story and in what she talked about, and she talked about the fear factor, she talked about the struggles that they went through, and like some of the things that the book evaluated on is the struggles that they face. Surrounded by the community, surrounded by the family, surrounded by the church. So she talks about those things. And one of the struggle was, okay, now she's married to Tori, she's married to Mr. Roberts, Pastor Roberts. Here it is. How do we make time for these children? How do we incorporate spending time with our family when he's a preacher and they're preaching 3 services a day and and then they have this new baby. I mean, I was seeing so much of myself in what she was talking about. She's just a little bit more on the speaking platform than I am because, she has it like that. But praise be to God. And just getting her life, and then she's written so many books. I'm still writing the one book. I should have already had 10 books, but I'm writing 2, 3 books at a time. And I just need to get my one book finished and get it out there. But it's just, you see, those are the struggles. And she talked about those things. And she talks about how she implemented or overcame that. Because even in your struggle, you have a safe zone. Because what happens, you adapt. You adapt to your situation. So it becomes like your new norm. And that becomes toxic sometimes because it's almost like chronic pain. A person has arthritis and they have arthritis in their knee, but because they are fearful of either going to the doctor and the doctor going to say they have a bone disease or they have severe arthritis or the knee needs to be operated on, they band-aid that knee and that becomes safe for them. So they banded it with whether it's Tylenol, ice, and they utilize everything in their power that they can to get the knee to function at a safe zone to where they can walk, they can go to work, and then they'll come home in a lot of pain, and then they elevate the leg and so forth and so forth. Rather than having, because of the fear of surgery, the fear of going to the doctor to hear they're going to have bad news. So, like I said, in your struggle, you paint a picture of this dark zone, and that's what fear does. Fear does not give you light. Fear gives you darkness. So you can't see, and a person who can't see is afraid of the unknown. So they are afraid to take a step. They're afraid to hear the voice that is instructing them to do X, Y, and Z. So they stay in this safe zone and say, well, I know at least it's dark. My back is up against this wall and I'm sitting. I know I'm sitting. So if they have to get up because it's dark, they're like, okay, I can't see anything. And the can't see anything part is the where the doctor may say, you're going to have surgery. Okay, they can't visualize what surgery is like if they've never done it, or every surgery is different. So all those things she talks about. And then, she talks about the struggling as far as, what do you do when they have all these children? They need to make time for each other. They need to do X, Y, and Z. And what I like what she said, I was like, wow, this is so interesting. Because sometimes I used to beat myself up trying to figure out, oh, how am I going to organize myself? I this before the pandemic, I was like almost to me in church at every function, every weekend, every meeting, and I'm not saying that's not bad, but I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but there are seasons of your life, when you get to a certain point in your life, like for me, just having these young children now, especially at an older age, because I'm going to be 50 next year, and I have these children in my 40s. So life for me is a little different. I'm not going to walk around feeling like I can't function or be active, but I still have to be mindful too that because I was at another stage in my life when I had those children, a stage where some people are where they're doing ministry, they don't have any chick chick come like my mom always says. She don't, chick chick come is like I don't have little chickens running behind me. What now I do. And that is in society considered the abnormal aspect of your life with having chick chick come, the chicken, the hen going across the street and all the little chickens following. So, that is supposed to be considered at an earlier age because, but how do you determine when should you start your family? If you want to start your family at a later age and God give you the grace to do that, then it's okay. But it's implementing the struggle free tactics in how to overcome the issues when you're faced with it. So, okay, I'm in more of a management stage in my walk. So there's some things that are required that is a little bit more straining than when you are just a regular, because when you're dealing with management, you have more to oversee, you have more to this. You're in a same thing, you're in ministry. If you're married to a pastor or he's married to either one who is a pastor or not, you have more ministerial affairs going on. So the children are still there, the husband is still there. So one end up doing a little bit more than what they probably would have done. So, I'm in a stage where I'm doing ministry. I have a business. I have a full-time job. I have a career, and at one point I was even back in school and trying to pursue a doctorate degree. And, and then still have consistent everyday affairs in dealing with intercessory, in mentoring and volunteering and all those different things. And then I also part of other ministries. So it can be overwhelming at times. You can think, and then you still have your children, and then you have the church that still wants you to play your role that you used to, or to be consistent. And you're like, oh my goodness. And I felt her when she said it was just so much. And they made the conscious decision to on Sundays, because they have services throughout the week and they have different things. And she mentioned they made a decision that on Sunday, I don't remember if it's in the morning or whenever, but I know she said, and they pack up their car and put all the kids in, and the husband, and someone fill in for the husband, because he had to make that conscious decision for his family. So he can be involved in his family and children. That really touched me, because I said, wow, that is really a blessing to be able to, although many people may have something to say about you, many people may have comments to say, at that time, they chose what was best for the family, because it's not like they're backsliding. They had, they step up the other leaders to be able to participate in that, so they too can have a life and be productive in their children's life and build better and stronger relationship. And my spiritual mom, she's always telling me, and my spiritual grandmother, I call Mother Evans my spiritual grandmother, and they have been implementing and teaching me and helping me to say, your children need you. You have to. This is a crucial time, and they constantly, empower me to be, mindful of my children. I'm still working a lot. I'm still doing ministry. I'm still involved, but I have come a far way, come down from doing so many things to doing, I choose now, I decide now, rather than saying yes to everything. And then when you look, I'm stressed out and I can't maintain my family or maintain time with my family. I thank God for the husband I have, that he's so awesome to be able to help me, raise these children collectively together 100%. So for me, this book was really inspiring. I really want to hear your thoughts. I don't see anyone that's sending me anything, and that tells me you probably didn't read the book. But it's okay. It's okay. It was 10 chapters. It's a easy read. It's really good. She talked about in the first chapter, no more excuses. How many times we make up excuses? We have excuses why we are not doing something, why we can't get something done. She talks about, finding herself, staying in the back. She talks about find your weeds. Weeds overtake everything else. She talked about finding that one thing that overtake everything else. And I gave you a little review of my life. At one point, ministry was overtaking anything, and God wants us to be balanced in our life. He wants us to be balanced. And she talked about learn your patterns. I thought that was really inspirational. She gave her examples of the things that was repetitious for her, what she was dealing with that was causing her issues. The same thing with us, because this book was just not, it was an inspirational teaching, and you can use it for Bible study. You can also use it to help your walk. Because again, what are the things that cause you to be struggling? What are the things that's repeating? That is, some people deal with repetition in financial issues that is the same. So you have to find what is the repetition in this area that you're struggling with, or that's causing you to be fearful of moving forward. And that's how you learn to deal with it. It's kind of like finding the root of the cause of a thing. And then when you learn what that is, you just dug it up and cut it out, so that thing will stop growing. She's, as a matter of fact, she also have that part in her book. She said, know the roots. When you learn the roots of your situation, it really empowers you to move forward, empowers you to grow, it empowers you to get to another level. She even talked about frenemies, and I love that one because sometimes you holding on to friendship and they're really like poisoning you. They're really like holding you back, and they become like your frenemies because she even talked about having a relationship that she just felt like that's who she had to hold on to for every different thing, and that relationship just had to subside because that was not healthy for her. So you have to identify those relationships that is truly becoming toxic, becoming something that is keeping you back, and both of you are not helping each other, although you think you are. But she talks about that. She, the one of the biggest part that she mentioned in her book was about forgiving. When you learn to forgive and remember, you have to forgive those that hurt you. You have to forgive those that done you wrong. You have to forgive so you can remember who you are. Because when you hold on to unforgiveness, and I always talk about that because uh, unforgiveness cause you to have a heart attack because you're holding a whole person in your heart. And I just thought that section right there was very empowering. And then I think her book builds on top of each chapter was building on top of becoming such a successful person in identifying who you are, and getting to a level of understanding your situation and knowing how to work through it. She also talk about she also talk about she also talks about knowing your roots. I'm sorry. She also talks about connecting with God. You have to connect with God. You have to connect with God because if you don't connect with God, you lose your blueprint. Your blueprint is your communication, your intimacy with God, reading your word. She talks about that developing that devotional time with Him, building your intimacy with Him through prayer, reading, meditating. She talks about that. Even surrounding yourself with people of caliber that God is choosing for your life. But you have to build yourself up and have that intimacy with God. And I really do enjoy that aspect. I was trying to ping people in my thing here, but so far that's okay. And so she talks about just connecting with God. So I really think that was powerful. Um, yeah, I was trying to add because it's harvest readers. Yes, and so those are some of the things that I just wanted, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I have a few more minutes because I know I started a little late, and then I'll tell you about the other book that I'm gonna start on. She talked about knowing your purpose. You have to know your purpose in all things. I mean, you have to know your purpose. What did God create you for? Why are you here? What is the reason, the purpose you are functioning? What is here? Why did God preserve your life here on earth? And I mentioned about the intimacy. So when you know your purpose, then you draw near to develop this intimacy with God, but you also develop an intimacy in relationship to whoever God connects you with, whether it's through your spouse, whether it's through a partner in partnership, because you have to have a intimacy on each level. I call them pillars. So there is a level of intimacy that you may have with a friend, which is the filial intimacy, but you have, the agape intimacy with God. Then you have that intimacy of love. I forgot the name of that word, with your spouse. You have business partners that you're doing business with. You have ministry intimacy. I mean, there's so many types, but it's connecting in such a way that you come together and you build strength and you get over the hurdles, the struggles, and the fear where I might be afraid of something. A person that you're working with will help push you. Iron sharpens iron, And then she talks about show me how. So, in everything, when you have that intimacy, then God will guide you through the person, through Him, in how to overcome those obstacles, how to get to the next phase, how to get to the next level, and so forth. And I mean, her book was really great. I don't know, I've mentioned in my discussion, like, a few of the favorite ones that, um, you know, that I liked. Let me hear from you. Tell me, what are your favorite space as far as from what the chapters talk about? Tell me what was one thing that stuck out to you regarding her writing. Let me know how the writing was. Was it immature? Did it feel like you stand up for a professional writing? Did was the sceneries clear? Did she take you into herself? Did she take you into the space where she, gave description, or did she bring you to a place of clarity? Did you feel like you've learned something from the book? Did you feel like the book added value to your life? And, I'd like to hear some of those things. And what is it doing for you now? So that comes to the end of our book discussion. And I just want to make the announcement for our new book for the month that we're reading right now, for the month of May. And I'm sorry, this is this is our April book. I'm sorry, because we just did the review for March. So this is our April book. And this is what? The Girl with the Loudon Voice by Abby Dari. And I've read majority of the book so far, and I'm still reading this book. When I tell you, this book has just blown my mind. It it is really a good book. So as you read it, you can also, because I do both. I do the reading, like I said, and then I listen to the book. This one I didn't listen completely all the way, but I listened to almost the end, and I like the book. So you're gonna have some areas in there where, and another thing, I don't want you to shoot the book down just because there is you'll hear she mentioned, and this is cultural. So in the culture, in African culture, SHIT is a common word for them. So they will say PISS is a common, it's very common. It is not considered derogatory when they use that word. And I've been around many cultures of the African descent, and when they moved to the state, they had to realize, oh my goodness, that's an insult. I've literally heard preachers who came from Africa spoke on the pulpit saying SHIT, because that's kind of like, oh my God, that's a word for them that is, are you for real? That sucks. So I want you to be mindful of those things when you're reading and understanding, and the depiction of an intimate part is not completely revealed, but some things will be a little more, you'll have to create a little bit more extent graphic in your head to understand, or you probably may already get it because, they don't go into gory total detail, but you'll get the point. And I don't want you to, I don't want you to be I don't want you to I don't want you to not to just turn this down. I don't want you to turn it down. Hey Kamiko, thank you for joining. How are you doing?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing good.
Great.
How are you?
I'm good. We're just coming to the end of my book review. I'm doing, I just finished actually, did Sarah Jakes the review, and now I'm talking about the new book that is our April read, and it's The Girl with the Louding Voice. So if you guys want to see the book, you can go to my Happy Harvest Book Club on Facebook, and if you just type in Happy Harvest Book Club, it'll pop up on Facebook and you can see. And then there's a chat room that says Harvest Readers or Harvest Book Readers. You can go into that, make comments if you want to, because I'm still interested in hearing your opinions about, what we said. What was your favorite line in the book that you read with Sarah Jakes? If you've read the book, if not, I recommend that you get that book. How did you like the plot? Did it help you? Did you get some pointers? Did you feel unsatisfied at the end, or do you feel like you can recommend this book? What did you gain from reading the book, and how did you feel doing the book after the book? Some books give you this gory feeling, some books give you this fearful feeling, some books give you this joy and this feeling. So those things are important when we're doing book discussions or book when we're in book club, because we can talk about the atmosphere and the culture of the book and so forth. And this book is going to be a very good book. Kamiko, we're talking about The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dari. And it is from a African Nigeria young lady who wrote the book. She lives in the States, and this book is a best-selling book. It is, oh my God, the book is just so, it's funny at some point, but it gets, a little crazy, where I was like, oh my goodness, this stuff is just not only happening there, but you can start seeing and understanding, because I'm trying to talk around the events of the book, so I'm not giving spoilers. But I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys next month, and that's going to be May. So we're ahead. Discussion is ahead, a month ahead for the book read a month behind. So April will be the discussion. May will be the discussion for April book, and for May that will be on the 8th. I'm sorry, it's always the first Tuesday, which will be the 4th. So it'll be May 4th at 7 p.m. But I think I may move the time on Tuesday to probably 8:30 or so. To 8, probably 8. Yeah, I think I'll do 8 o'clock and bring it up a little bit more. So that's the plan. And I thank you all so much for joining, and looking forward to seeing you guys pick up. Tell me your thoughts and what your ideas are, and anything just for me also. Give me some ideas on what you think you'd like to hear, what books you'd like us to read. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite maybe an author, if I can get an author to come in one of these days, sit in with us. What you think, Kamiko? We can do something like that.
I think it's a good idea. I think, these books are good reads and all of that. So having an author is just a plus for it and all of that. So I'm grateful for this. This is awesome. I'm sorry I was late coming on.
That's
but I was
okay.
late for a meeting. So yeah, I'm excited about this. You're doing good, girl. You done stepped on out. Come on. I like
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa. Teresa, you stayed on to the end. Did you enjoy the book review, Teresa? Did you enjoy the book? Send me something so I can see you talking.
I don't see Teresa.
Yeah, she's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she on Teresa, Kamiko, and everyone who's on Facebook that watching. Kamiko is on Clubhouse, so she. Remember I was inviting you guys to come onto Clubhouse so we can have a dialogue back and forth. And for those of you who are um, watching, those of you who are watching. Oh, yes, Teresa said yes, she enjoyed the book. So get that book, Teresa. I'm telling you, you're going to like it. You're going to really like it because it's not just designed just for a particular person. It's just, with all life itself, situations she was dealing with. At some point, I'm sure some of us had dealt with struggles or fear or, whatever area that you had some weakness. So I think that's the beauty of the book. And I really enjoyed the book. So I can't wait. Oh my God, this book, you guys, this book is gonna have so much things that I really want you guys to read the book because I want y'all to, comment. And I'm thinking, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put out the invites to allow you guys to come in with me so we can have some dialogue going on the camera if you can't do the clubhouse where you can tune in because I know it's not everybody who have a iPhone. Some of you have Android. So if you have Androids, I'm going to send the links for you guys. So I'm going to put an invitation so you guys for next month can you know get access to come in with me and then we can have some discussion. Even if it's just two of you that sign up or whatever, that would be great still. So I'm looking forward for next month because this book is, and again, recommendations or just a suggestion. If you're having a difficult time reading physically the book, remember you can do audio. Subscribe to Audible if you can. They usually give you points. I've been with Audible a long time. Scribe is another one with the D at the end, SCRIBD. That's another one. They do both books and Audible. Libro is another Audible. You can do that. They're more dedicated to Black-owned libraries or independent book stores. The proceedings go to those or partially. And then you can also subscribe to your library. Your library have digital, Kindle. They have audios. You can subscribe to your library. A lot of people not utilizing their library, but your libraries are good. It's free. If you don't want to buy books, I'm not sure if all of them would have the new one, but certain books are given to the library to have. So if it's a new book and you prescribe or order it, it may be on hold. But if you do it early, and then what I'm going to start doing is having the books 2 months in advance. So that way, if you have to order the book, then it will help you because that way you kind of prepare for it. So I'm looking for ideas and suggestion of books that you'd like for us to discuss and for us to review and talk about and for us to have on the book club. Teresa, go on and see if you can, because I don't think you're in my book club. So I'd love for you to be in there. And those of you who are wanting to join, hey, I'm looking forward to new people to come on in. All right. So without further ado, that's my topic on my review. And let me know what you guys think. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all and hearing more about the books that you're reading and what recommendations that you have. I am reading more than just one book, but I just want to stick to this. I have several books that I'm reading at a time. I'm always reading because I'm always doing different projects. So I have to keep up. So God bless you and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. And I will see you sometime soon. Bye bye.